Bali, the island of the gods. Known for its spiritual beauty, ancient temples, and vibrant culture. But behind the sacred chants and the fragrance of incense lies a hidden world, one older and darker than time itself. A world of forbidden knowledge, whispered curses, and creatures that lurk in the night. This is where the legend of the Leek, pronounced Leak, was born. A dark witch from Balinese mythology who can detach her head from her body and fly in search of human blood. In the village of Duku, this legend is no bedtime story. It is a living nightmare. The old woman at the edge of the village. Nilu Ratmi had lived at the far end of Duku for decades. Her house stood beneath an ancient banyan tree, shadowed and silent. She was always alone. Her gray hair was never tied properly, her eyes sharp and cold. No one dared to greet her. Parents warned their children not to go near her home. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said she spoke to spirits. Others believed she practiced black magic. A few whispered she was a leek, a night witch who had turned away from the gods. Strange things started to happen after her return to the village. Infants cried for hours at night with no cause. Dogs barked into the darkness, eyes wide with fear. Livestock was found drained of blood. And on more than one occasion, villagers claimed to see a floating head with burning red eyes and entrails hanging below it, gliding through the sky. Kadek, a young man who delivered temple offerings, once passed by Ratmi's house after sunset. From inside, he heard the eerie sound of gamelan music, yet the house appeared completely dark. Driven by curiosity, he peeked through a gap in the wooden wall. What he saw nearly stopped his heart. Ratmi was sitting inside a glowing circle, surrounded by flickering candles and shadowy figures dancing around her. But her head was missing. Only her body sat upright, moving in rhythm. Before he could run, something cold touched Kadek's shoulder. He screamed, then fell unconscious. When he was found the next morning, he couldn't speak. His mouth was filled with soil, and his eyes were frozen open. Kadek never spoke another word again. The exorcism attempt, fear gripped the entire village. The elders invited Dro Manku Pasek, a young priest well-versed in ancient protective mantras. He arrived with holy water, offerings, and an old Lontar manuscript said to contain secrets for banishing dark spirits. On the night of the full moon, the villagers gathered at the central temple. Incense filled the air. Prayers were whispered. Mantras were chanted. But suddenly the flames of the candles blew out, one by one. From the darkness came a laugh, shrill and chilling, echoing from the banyan tree near Ratmi's house. A thick fog rolled in, swallowing the temple grounds. People collapsed one by one, tormented by the same terrifying vision. They saw themselves being devoured by winged creatures wearing the faces of people they loved. When the fog cleared, Ratmi stood in the center of the temple. Her face had transformed. Her eyes were bulging, her tongue long and black. Blood dripped from her mouth. A gaping wound around her neck pulsed as though her head had only just returned. Dro Manku barely saved the others. Desperate for answers, he summoned Ida Padanda, an old high priest from Ubud, who knew the ancient paths of dark magic. According to the forbidden pages of the Lontar Leek, those who become leek witches surrender part of their soul. Their essence turns parasitic, hungering for blood, fear, and pain. A leek can separate her head, trailing her guts, and fly through the night to feed on pregnant women, dying elders, or newborns. Ida Padanda revealed that Ratmi had been trained by I Gede Mertayasa, a legendary leek master cursed and buried alive beneath a holy tree decades ago. Before his death, he passed on his power to Ratmi, and with it, an eternal curse. Leek witches never die naturally. Their spirits become trapped between worlds, and Ratmi was no longer human. The only way to end the curse was to trap Ratmi's flying head inside a sacred earthen jar and bury it on consecrated ground. But it could only be done when her head was detached. Under the dark moon, Dro Manku, Ida Padanda, and 5 chosen villagers blessed with protection chants infiltrated Ratmi's home. Her body lay motionless on a mat of offerings. The air was thick with the stench of iron and burnt herbs. Her head was gone. Suddenly, from the sky came the sound of flapping, then a shriek. Her head appeared above, intestines dangling like ropes, tongue wagging in hunger. The priests began chanting. Their mantras formed glowing patterns in the air, turning into a net of light that pulled the head downward. Ratmi screamed, her voice layered with hundreds of tortured souls. The sacred jar was opened. The head thrashed violently, biting and spinning. But the spell was complete. Her skull was sealed inside with molten wax, frangipani petals, and cemetery earth. Peace returned to Duku Lingsir, but no one ever went near Ratmi's house again. It still stands today, rotting and silent. On some nights, when the moon is too bright and the wind eerily quiet, people swear they hear gamelan music playing from inside. Others hear laughter, faint but close, because the curse of the leek never dies, it only sleeps. Waiting for another soul, brave or foolish, enough to seek power from the shadows.